Our show sponsor for starts and sits is Aspire Drinks. If you go to aspiredrinks.com using the code Dween, you can save 15% on all of your orders. I just bought a 27-pack variety edition because there's so many different good flavors. It's green tea power energy drinks, less caffeine, more benefits, the refreshingly unextreme energy. Go and get some today using code Dween, and let's get back to the video. Welcome in, Dween Nation. This is your host, Justin Pides, alongside Janoah, Agudelo, and we are kicking off Week 10 with a bang. Dween Sports on TikTok and Instagram have both hit 1,000 followers. Big accomplishment that we are so happy to say that we've gotten this far, and we just want to thank you guys, thank Dween Nation for getting us here. And as Janoah will probably attest to, it's just the beginning. We are continuing to build. It's only week 10 of 2025. Imagine us years from now. So we're going to keep cooking. But thank you guys for continuing to listen to the Dween Sports podcast. But anyway, we're talking starts and sits to help you win your week 10 fantasy football matchups. We got our list, quarterbacks, running backs, all the way down the line. I'm so super excited to discuss all of our starts of the week and sits of the week. But before we do, how you doing, Janoah?
Yo, Dween Nation. Justin, absolutely congrats to us. Hopefully, my brother, by Super Bowl, we can get another 1,000, another few Ks there in the column for us there. It's Dween Sports on TikTok. But yes, guys, we're going to be grinding here. Week 10 starts and sits, Justin. I mean, it's just such a fun season. I was thinking to myself in the car today, after work thinking, the NFL season is so much fun because last week we're talking about sit Dowdle. But what happens? Dowdle finished, top 5 in fantasy running back finishes of last week in week 9. And then now it's a whole new ball game, Justin, because another set of wide receivers and running backs are going to go off this week. And this is a fun matchup slate of weekend games. And I'm so excited to discuss our starts and sits because they have a big time impact in these weekends matchups.
Yeah, and I feel like today is kind of a bonus episode. We discussed it before starting to record because we have a couple extra names, a little honorable mentions too that we'll discuss kind of further out in the episode. That there's a lot of good matchups, a lot of good plays this week. So we'll start on it. And we'll start with the quarterbacks where I'm going to run it back. Last week wasn't a great output from Jared Goff. It wasn't a bad game by any means. But my favorite spot for Jared Goff in this football team is after a loss. And they play a Commanders team that the defense has struggled this entire season. No Jaden Daniels, unfortunately. I kind of wish he was playing for the sake of this game being a shootout. But I think Jared Goff, off of a loss, I think this team's going to be extra motivated to bounce back, and he's going to have a huge performance.
Yeah, Justin, I love it. Absolutely. It's a road matchup. Both of these teams need to win. Obviously, with Jared Goff losing to my guy we're going to discuss in a second last week, it's a loss, and Dan Campbell reacts really well after losses, Justin. And Jared Goff, I believe, is going to pour it on. It's one of these road games where, like I've mentioned in the past, Jared Goff's really not that good on the road, but occasionally he'll have a big time, game. I know one of his first year with the Lions, or I think the year they went to the NFC title game, one game in the regular season, he had a good game on the road. That was against a tough Jets team at the time, defense, and he had a great game. I think he had nearly 40 fantasy points. And I remember thinking to myself, oh, wow, Jared Goff never does this on the road. That's why I'm surprised. But anyways, Justin, on the road, I like it. He's got Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta. These are guys that I have, and he's definitely going to pour it on. I think this week is a heavy Goff passing game. I think Jahmyr Gibbs has a good game receiving as well as Montgomery. So I love it, Justin. For me, I'm going to go with J.J. McCarthy. And looking at J.J. McCarthy's first couple starts there, he missed last year. He's playing now. But Justin, he hasn't really had a great home game. His only home game I'm looking at here was against the Falcons on, Sunday Night Football? That might have been the game he got hurt. But now I feel like he has a great matchup. Sunday against the Baltimore Ravens. He's got great weapons around him. This secondary in Baltimore is really not that good. They're improving as an overall team to get victories, but I feel like the Vikings as well at home need to win, and Kevin O'Connell can absolutely call up the plays. Also, I mentioned this in our waiver wire video on TikTok, that J.J. McCarthy is a great rushing quarterback. He gets those rushing yards. I think he had a rushing touchdown last week in his return. He might have had one week 1 on the road against the Bears, but he's the guy that won't get you 200, 250 passing yards, but it's kind of like Josh Allen where he'll stack up the total touchdowns. It's kind of like a Josh Allen will have a 185 passing yards, but he'll get you 80 rushing yards with 4 total touchdowns. That's kind of like a Josh Allen fantasy stat line there. I feel like JJ McCarthy this weekend has the potential to put that up against a kind of weaker, Ravens defense.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at it, if you look at Baltimore, their defense over the entirety of the season, they've been really bad. They're 25th against the
Yeah.
quarterback position. That's worrisome. But then if you dive down just a little deeper, the last few weeks, the Ravens have been sneakily good on the defensive side, not allowing more than 12 fantasy points to the quarterback position in 3 straight games. I don't know what the change has been. I mean, they even traded away Jair Alexander. Maybe a couple injured players came back. I think this game is going to be weird. Maybe it's just me. I can't put my full gauge on if this is going to be a
Yeah.
shootout or if we're going to see more of Derrick Henry, if we're going to see those, short passing plays from the Vikings. I'm really on the fence here. I do like that it's at home for JJ, and I was really impressed. I know his box score doesn't look phenomenal last week, but
Yeah.
on the road, getting that kind of win against the Detroit Lions, still had a pretty solid fantasy output. I think he is a really solid play, and if you were able to scoop him up off the waiver wire, you should be happy rest of the season. But those are our quarterback starts of the week. We'll move to the running back position, and this one's the heavy one, the honorable mention one we were talking about. I'll start with my main one, Rico Dowdle. Maybe this is not as much of a stretch anymore. He looks to be the guy in Carolina, and honestly, he's kind of like their identity. I mean, they're winning games when he has a good game, and they are using him a bunch. He is better than Chuba Hubbard. I really feel bad for Rico where he was in Dallas, and then they were just kind of like, yeah, we don't really need you anymore. And then he signs this low backup deal with the Panthers, and now look at him. He's in line for a huge payday in the offseason. But against the Saints defense, I am not worried at all. I love Rico to perform big time this week. And then my little honorable mention I wanted to throw in here, he's not on the list, but Quinshon Judkins coming back off the injury, off the bye week against a Jets team that just traded away Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams. I think that Cleveland's going to be in a good spot, especially Judkins, who finished his last game injured, but also just not playing well. And so I think Quinshon is also in line for a huge game.
Yeah, Justin. I mean, first off with Dowdle, I want to say he's been quite impressive this year. I really hope when the season's done, he is the rushing yards leading champion at the end of the season. I just feel like it would be a good story. Obviously, they won't be like, oh, he's considered for Offensive Player of the Year, but I want him to get his flowers because he's getting over 200 yards games, over total scrimmage yards. And then he's got games where he's giving you 120 and 2 touchdowns against a tough Packers defense on the road. And then I just love this matchup this weekend. And I feel like against the Saints, they might not be doing much, offensively. So there might be some turnovers where they put the Panthers in 10, 9-yard goal line red zone situations. And then you can hand it off to Dowdle 3 times and he'll punch it in. So I definitely love that. And then your second guy in Judkins, he's going to get the usage, Justin. In Cleveland, he is their offense. He is their identity. That's kind of how Stefanski has had it with Chubb in the past couple years. Was it like Duke Johnson? Well, I don't know if Stefanski was there at the time, but he still had Chubb for a little bit. He's had other running backs after Chubb, after his injury and stuff. So I feel like now he's got a guy like Judkins that he's going to lean on, a rookie, Ohio State. So he's an Ohio product. So I feel like he's going to turn it on as well. I have both of these running backs, so I'm starting them all across the board. For me and my 2 guys, I'm really going to go 3 here. I have Kyle Monungai and Swift. Obviously, they're teammates in Chicago. So I feel like for me, both of these running backs have a great matchup at home. I think they're going to get the usage running the football. They're going to want to protect Caleb Williams in this game. I feel like defense has a more solid game for Chicago. So I feel like Bears might be leaning more on the run game. Plus, both of these running backs as of late have been on a tear, Justin. And I'm looking at games where they're both having good fantasy outcomes playing the same game. So I just feel like they can both end up fantasy-wise. One can end up with 100 yards and a touchdown. And then I would say Monungai probably won't get over 30 rushing yards, but he'll have 2 rushing touchdowns. That's still good as a high-end flex there, Justin. So for me, I like both running backs. The matchup against the Giants, I like it. It's at home. The last couple games, I'm looking at Caleb Williams at home. He hasn't really been that well. He's much better fantasy quarterback on the road. So I feel like these games at home are more of like run the football. I know Caleb Williams had a great time game like week 4 to week 3 against the Cowboys, but other than that, he's been sort of flat as a fantasy quarterback. I'm looking at here, the stats are leaning more on the rushing game here. So I like these two running backs. And then my shout out, my honorable mention is Chargers running back Kimani Vidal. I love the usage there. Harbaugh and this offense are getting it together. Justin Herbert is having great games, but it's because of the run game, Justin. I feel like Kimani Vidal, he has his patterns where he has a bad game, but has another great game the following week. And I'm looking at last week, he wasn't all that well against the Titans on the road, but this matchup, Sunday Night Football, I just love it at home. I think he's going to get 20 plus carries, and I think majority of it's going to come at the goal line there. If Justin Herbert is not throwing a 50-yard touchdown, I feel like if they're in the red zone, they're going to lean it to Kamani Vidal, and I guess Herbert will take it from there. But I just love the usage that they're giving him. Looking at this running back depth chart, no one here talent-wise is looking to challenge Kamani Vidal, and the only thing, God forbid, is just injury. That is it. If he stays healthy, Justin, you can leave Hampton on the IR for another couple weeks and keep Kamani Vidal in your lineups.
Yeah, well, I'll dive into your first take first with Manungai and Swift. So for both of these guys, obviously you're completely on the money there. I think that the Bears, if they could ideally move the football, it would be running the ball. And we've seen it. Swift had 2 massive games. Manungai last week, massive performance. I think I agree with you. I think if both play, obviously their ceilings are lowered, but I still think I think Manungai is still worth the start. I would start Swift over Manungai if he plays. I did just look, and as of 25 minutes ago, Swift practiced fully on Thursday today when we're recording. So he looks like he will be back in action. But I really like the matchup. I do think they'll be in the lead. And yeah, I think they're both fine plays. I think you can play Manungai as a high-end flex this week. Even though Swift is playing, he'll be limited. They'll probably split 50-50. And then for Kamani Vidal, I mean, if you look at it, in his 4 starts now, there's a pattern here. Or I guess is it 5 starts now? No.
Yeah, I mean it's back and forth. I think Swift missed last week, right?
Yes. No. So for Vidal, in his first start where he got the boatload of touches, he went off against the Dolphins. Then the next week he sucked against the Colts. And then the next week he killed the Vikings. And then the next week he sucked against the Titans. So what am I getting at here? I think this is a prime spot for him to ball out.
That's what I'm saying.
The only worry, and it is a fairly big one, is the injury of Joe Alt. He is not playing. He's out for the season. He is their star left tackle. And with the pass rush of T.J. Watt, Cam Hayward, Alex Highsmith, there's definitely trepidations I have, but I love that he's getting literally all the volume. So start him until you can't, because once Hampton comes back, it'll be a wraps for Vidal. So enjoy it while it lasts. We'll move to the wide receiver position here, where I got Jameson Williams. So I'm riding this Lions revenge tour game, because if you also remember, the Lions got booted from the playoffs last year to a surging Commanders team. Now the Commanders are definitely, beaten, lost a lot of pieces. But the Lions still feel the same way. Hey, man, this is the team that beat us, embarrassed us in our home. Now it's our turn to do it to them. And Jameson Williams, let me see if I can find his stat line real quick. He played really good in that playoff game. I know he had the long touchdown, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think the Lions are going to dominate. I mean, I feel like I will be kind of repeating myself from the Jared Goff take. I think this offense is going to score at will. And with that, I have Jameson Williams definitely scoring a big-time touchdown. And being a piece that obviously normally you can't rely on. He seems a little bit of a boom-bust guy, but I think he is in line for a huge boom game.
Yeah, Justin, I definitely love Jameson Williams this week. He did have a touch on that game against the Commanders. One of them was a rush, I want to say. It was a trick play, but I would say he has a great matchup on the road. I feel like Goff is going to have one of those games where he will take a deep shot to Jameson Williams. And this team does not forget what happened in the divisional round. No matter who is the quarterback there, they're on the road in that atmosphere, so I definitely love it. For me, Justin, I'm going to go with Michael Pittman Jr., who's going to be a part of another great atmosphere overseas Sunday morning for us here against the Falcons. And I feel like he's going to be kind of facing off against his counterpart, Drake London. Both of these receivers seem similar. I want to say they're both USC guys, right, Justin?
No, Jameson is.
No, I'm talking about Pittman. I'm talking about
Oh yeah, Pittman in London. Yes, you are
yeah,
correct.
Pittman and London are no. Jameson is a Bama guy. We know that, Justin.
We do.
But I feel like with Pittman, I feel like he's facing his counterpart against Drake London overseas in this Sunday morning game. I feel like this could be a shootout. I think Daniel Jones, after the loss last week in Pittsburgh, bounces back in some ways. I think it's going to come through the passing game. Obviously, we love Tyler Warren. Pittman is going to be the main guy. I think he's going to be heavily target there. I know a lot of you guys are excited for Alec. Is it Alec Pierce? I think he's gonna have a good game, but I think Pittman is the guy. It's gonna be. I think he should get over 100 yards and a touchdown. I like Pittman this week, Justin. I just love the matchup overseas. I think this game has some popcorn written on it. One of those great, memorable international games.
I sure hope so because
Yeah,
sometimes the international games can falter and be a little bit wonky.
I'm being optimistic, Justin, because I
I love
agree. I agree.
it. No,
Daniel
and
Jones and Penix are not going to disappoint. With Bijan, I promise.
I think Atlanta's in line for a bounce back. I know they
Yeah.
made a surge to try to beat the Patriots last week. It was all Drake London show, but Bijan has had two straight somewhat dud weeks. And
Yeah.
so I think he is in line to bounce back, especially it's him versus Jonathan Taylor. I feel like there might be a little extra motivation, not like they're
Yeah.
but those are top running backs in the league, trying to show that they're the top guys in the league. And then to help Pittman's point, he's been also phenomenal. Like I feel like still nobody's talking about it. He's had double digits in 7 of 9 games. He is so consistent. He's the 7th wide receiver in fantasy right now. And if you look at his competition, Tyler Warren has been really good as a rookie this year. But the Falcons are number 1 in fantasy football against the tight end position. So I expect Jesse Bates and company to shut down Warren this week in his first overseas game of his career. And I think Pittman is in line for a huge performance. So I like it there a lot for Pittman. I think he's going to continue to roll, even though they lost last week. I think that's even better for motivation to keep moving. We'll move to tight ends where I got a Rondé Gadsden the second. I mean, he's really burst onto the scene, been a guy. He's had a couple of star performances. The only question people have for him is there's so many people in the receiving room for the Chargers. You have Ladd, you have QJ, you have Keenan Allen, you have a Rondé Gadsden. And so it's definitely heavy there. But it's a home game. I do hate that that Joe Alt is out. I think that really affects the whole offense. But Pittsburgh is pretty darn bad against the tight end position. I don't know if you remember, just 2 weeks ago, we saw good old Tucker Kraft go for 7 receptions, 143 yards, and 2 touchdowns against this defense. They're 30th on the season against the tight end position. We saw Hunter Henry earlier in the year go for 90 yards and 2 scores. So it's happened across the season that Pittsburgh has struggled against the tight end position. And if you're a Pittsburgh Steeler, defensive play caller, if you're Mike Tomlin, who do you want to guard? You want to make sure you get Ladd McConkey locked down. Yeah, you got Joey Porter. You got Jalen Ramsey to try to guard Quinn Johnston or Keenan Allen. Their top guys are not guarding Rondé Gadsden, so I think he's in line for a huge performance.
Yeah, Justin, I love it. He's going to be targeted heavily by Justin Herbert. He has given an extra layer to this Chargers offense. It's sort of been next man up for this Chargers offense, but this guy has been very consistent, and I love it. I love the matchup. I know the offensive line may be concerning for this Chargers offense, but I'm going to be a believer and say that Harbaugh is one of the more elite head coaches. He's learned a lot being in college and then returning, so I feel like they're going to be able to protect Herbert for this game. I know it's against T.J. Watt, but I think they're going to have quick dump-off passes to Rondé Gadsden here, and I love it. They're going to take some deep shots. I know we saw a few weeks ago where Herbert kind of felt a similar pass rush against the Vikings, was still able to feed Rondé Gadsden there on that Thursday night matchup. I feel like similar matchup at home against a tough front seven. He's just going to have to throw it fast, play action, get it, or maybe some quick dump-off passes, and Rondé is the guy. For me, I'm going to go with George Kittle. I love the matchup against the LA Rams. They are home. And I feel like whether it's Purdy or Mac Jones, who knows who's going to be the quarterback, because they could practice all week. And then Justin, like last second, we hear Saturday night, oh, Purdy's out. So whoever is the quarterback, Justin, doesn't matter. When you have McCaffrey in that backfield that opens up play action with George Kittle there, he's going to catch a big time plays there. He's going to catch a 40-yarder, I believe, this week, Justin, maybe for a touchdown. He is a guy that if he's healthy and he has that matchup, or I'm George Kittle. I like to, he's how he gets. So yeah, he's gonna want to go off, and I know National Titans Day was a few weeks ago or last week, but I think that it's gonna be a revamp. He's gonna run it back. I just love the matchup at home. At home against the LA Rams divisional matchup. Shanahan, excuse me, knows that they need a win. So I think that George Kittle's going to be a guy that's going to get targeted about 10 to 15 times here. And I feel like this offense is getting healthy week by week. Don't want to jinx them, but I think that helps out Kittle's case as well.
Yeah, for me with Kittle, obviously you know how good he is as a talent. I mean, he's historically been so good. This season it hasn't been the most pretty. It's only a very small sample size to call that. But 3 games back, only one good performance against this Rams team. Yes, they are home. That helps a lot in my opinion. I really do hope it's Brock Purdy. Him and Purdy have a much better connection than him and Mac Jones do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a negative there. I don't know if the Rams have any extra juice in this game. Obviously, it's a division game, but they got embarrassed on Thursday Night Football earlier in the season when it was like all the backups and Christian McCaffrey went into SoFi and beat them there. So I have some concerns, but he is George Kittle, so he's probably in your starting lineups. I'll throw some names out here that I would start George Kittle over, and guys that I would start over George Kittle. I'll throw it to you even. Would you start George Kittle over Sam Laporta?
No, I'm starting Laporta.
Okay, you're starting Laporta. Okay, good line. How about Dallas Goedert against the Packers?
I'd start Kittle.
Okay, yeah.
I know Goddard's been good as of late.
That one's the toughest one for me. How about Kincaid?
I knew you were going to ask me that. I was going to ask you about Kincaid. You know what? I guess I'll go Kincaid because he's got Josh Allen throwing it to him. And I do think that this matchup against the Miami Dolphins, these are games that Josh Allen just runs up to score. That's one of those Josh Allen games where he's throwing like 4 touchdowns, like randomly. It's one of those Josh Allen games.
Kincaid and him have been locked in together this year.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't seen.
It's about time, Justin. He was drafted in the first round a few years ago. I mean, he is the guy. I mean, we haven't heard of Dawson Knox in years.
Yeah, man, Dawson Knox was taking snaps. I know Kincaid was, but at times, but I think I would go. I would go Laporta, or I would do Laporta and Kincaid and Goddard over Kittle this week, but he's literally right behind them.
I would say, what about Andrews?
I would start Kittle over Andrews this week.
Okay. I like Andrews. He got targeted last week.
Well, to be honest with you, I talked about it a little bit in the TikTok earlier this week. I think this is a likely game.
Really?
And I say a likely game because Minnesota gives away a lot to the tight end over the middle, which I guess is where Andrews kind of caught the second touchdown last week.
Well, he almost caught a third one, I think, or was it?
Yeah, he did almost catch a third one.
He almost caught a third one. So I feel like when Lamar's there, he's just gonna find him. I mean, so I feel like it's a similar. Justin, this happened last year. The first 5 games of last year, he was getting you donuts, and then next thing you know, he was having great games. I think he had a big time game last year against the Eagles. There was another game. He's been going off. The latter part, obviously, he had the divisional matchup, but fantasy wise, regular season, I think he can bounce back. And who knows, maybe Justin, this is a revitalized Ravens team. They need to win, so I feel like they're gonna need to go to their main guys.
All right, I can't say I dislike Andrews. I do like likely.
It's a tricky week 10, Justin. It's a tricky week 10. I tell you that. Week 10 is tricky.
The best thing is that we've named 5 or 6 different tight ends without naming even McBride, Warren, Bowers.
Yeah.
That's showing that tight end room getting a little bit deeper than in normal years. I mean, normally you can name 5 or 6 and you were done and tapped out and probably starting bench warmer.
Shout out Theo Johnson too. We got those names before we go on. I can't deny Theo Johnson is talented as well. I cannot deny it.
I mean, who is Jackson Dart throwing it to? I mean, geez.
Yeah, he's gonna get the usage. He's gonna get those garbage time points as well. Theo Johnson. You guys might out there, Dween Nation, please pick him up.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that a lot. We'll move to sits of the week, guys that you do not want in your fantasy lineups, and I'll start. This one hurts me because I have him in our big league, and it is Breece Hall. Plays the Cleveland Browns, which I just obviously hate the matchup. That is, they're second against the run in fantasy football. and Brees Hall was struggling against teams that were middle of the pack. The Jets, man, it's just such a bummer watching them play. I do think it helps that Garrett Wilson is coming back, makes the offense a little bit more diverse, a little bit more versatile. But I just against that tough defense, I don't care if he gets 25 carries. I just don't see him having a big game.
Yeah, Justin, for me, I don't think I could bench Brees Hall, Justin. I believe in him too much. He's just a pure rusher. But I definitely get it. The only thing is that I would say I would bench Brees Hall if they were on the road. It's looking like they're home, right, Justin? Yeah, they're home with the Browns. So I feel like it's the home crowd. It's a bonus for Brees Hall. Brees Hall, it's like gives them a 5% boost or whatever. And I feel like Aaron Glenn, they tasted victory a few weeks ago for the bye. So I got to believe that they are going to feed Brees Hall, Justin. I just got to believe it. If not, maybe they're just satisfied with that one victory and that's it. But they have to feed Brees Hall there to, I guess, move the chains.
I wish they traded him. I wish
I wish they did too. Because you know what? I like Davis. Davis, he was really good the week before the bye week. And then Brees Hall could have fit. I mean, it would have been nice to see him in Pittsburgh or
Kansas City was the big one, I think, that they were talking. I think he would have became the workhorse. I think like the other guys wouldn't have been getting touches.
I mean, maybe the Chargers make a move or something. Maybe a Jags send ETN.
Yeah, I mean that would be better.
That would be cool. Because Brees Hall would get all those carries in Jacksonville. Tootin wouldn't. I mean, Tootin would be like a receiving option, maybe. Not even.
I mean, if Brees Hall is on a semi-capable offense, he is a top 5 or 6 running back.
Yeah.
Maybe definitely top 10.
He should have gotten traded. Or to Denver. Denver would have been awesome too. I mean, JK is good, but if you're Denver, you want to go an extra mile. You want a Super Bowl with Terrell Davis as your Super Bowl MVP. So you might need a rushing attack late in the season. I don't know. Sean Payton. Yeah. For me, Justin, I'm going to go with another running back, and I'm going to talk about Tyrone Tracy. I started him last week, and he burned me. Guys, I was the idiot who benched Dowdle for Tracy. Go ahead. Ouch. Yes, I know. Boo this man. Boo. And I lost. I could have went to 6-4. Not only that, I lost to an 0-8 team to make matters worse, guys. So Tyrone Tracy burned me bad, and he's on my sit list. And I started him in my flex, and I was so confident this was his time. I don't care if it was against the 49ers. You were home. We missed Scatterboo. Everyone was heartbroken from his injury. But, we wanted to be positive, and we're like, all right, well, I guess Tracy's the guy. He was the guy last year, right? And so he burned me. And so I'm going to sit him, Justin. I don't like this matchup at Chicago. Like we talked about in this episode, we do think that it's going to be a Jackson Dart pass-heavy offense where he is targeting Wandell. He is targeting Theo John, and they're not really running the ball. Not to mention, Singletary is going to cut into this guy's action. So even if they are on a top rushing attack, Singletary has proven when he was with my Houston Texans, when he was on the Buffalo Bills, he's not going to have 1,000 yards every year, but he'll have those games every 4 to 5 games where he'll get you 15 to 20 carries, and if you're lucky, he will get 100 yards and a touchdown. It's similar in ways to how James Cook is. But I feel like, obviously James Cook is miles ahead, but stat lines, I feel like Singletary might leave his backfield. So I am benching Tyrone Tracy. There are so many guys. You know what, Justin? We just talked about, Davis from the Jets. I'd rather, if you were in a 14-man, 12-man league and you just need help there, you have some guys on bye, then hey, might as well, start a day. I mean, I'm looking at other running backs over Tracy. Maybe a Bam Knight, a Terrell Jennings who could play.
I wouldn't go that far.
Oh, I don't know. Justin Vrabel hates Travion Henderson. We'll see if Ramondre plays, but
what about what about Chuba? Would you start him over Chuba?
I would start Chuba because Dotto can still have 50 yards and a touchdown and be okay fantasy wise, but Chuba could also get a touchdown because Bryce Young, Justin, doesn't throw for many touchdowns. He's not going to end up with 280 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's not going to have a Flacco stat line. I love Bryce Young. He might this season. They might need to just lean on running the football. You have Canales. You have 2 capable backs. You're 5-4. They're going to need to lean on Chuba and Rico Dowdle. That's how I see it.
I'll ask you one more. How about Woody or Nick Chubb?
I think Nick Chubb is questionable, Justin. Let me see. Yeah, Woody Box for sure. A return to practice. Never mind, Justin. I'm sorry. You were right. He didn't practice yesterday, so these practice reports they hit us randomly. This was 11 minutes ago. But I would say, Justin, home against the Jags. Was it Davis Mills? I'm a Texans fan. I watched that 2022 season, and I don't know. I feel like they might need to lead on the running game. Remember Damian Pierce, his rookie year, Davis Mills was a pretty good rookie running back. So maybe it's Woody Marks' time. Who knows, Justin? Maybe this offense is going to need to feeding Woody Marks. And you know what? I do like Chubb, but I just feel like Chubb is not there speed wise. He's missed multiple games in the past 2 years. He's still kind of catching up. I think Chubb will be back eventually. We'll see how the Texans do, but for right now, I think this is a Woody Marks game. I like it.
Okay.
I like it.
I,
I like Woody
I,
Marks actually.
I think definitely if Chubb didn't play, I like Woody Marks. I would start Tracy over them.
Really,
I would start Tracy over Chuba still. I think that it's still he's getting a good matchup. If he had a bad matchup, he would be a sit before all those guys. But the Bears haven't been that good against the run. But yeah, not that I like Tracy or anything this week. I don't think he'll have a good game. We moved to kickers of the week. I got Chase McLaughlin. I mean, coming off the bye week, there's a good chance, which did happen in our league. We were all racing for him. But sometimes when they go to bye weeks, these top kickers get dropped unless your name's Brandon Aubrey or maybe Cam Dicker. And so McLaughlin might have got dropped in your leagues. And if he is out there, please scoop him up. And then if you decided to keep him or you were able to get him at waivers, good on you because he's going to be a guy you can lock in every single week. And this week against the Patriots at home, I think he's going to be in line for a lot of field goals.
Justin, when we get into our rapid fires pick here in a second, remind me to rave about this matchup here in Tampa. I love everybody, literally everybody, but Chase McLaughlin is one of the guys that I love. You know what? Shout out Matt McPherson. He tore my heart this morning when I checked the waiver wire picks. Chase was available. I was fourth or fifth in the waiver order. Matt is, I believe, second. I'm looking at Matt's team. I'm like, okay, he doesn't need a kicker. So I was thinking to myself, Justin, you mentioned Aubrey and Cam Dicker. I think Chase McLaughlin, fantasy wise, is the third best kicker in fantasy. Maybe
Yeah.
McPherson, you can throw his name in there as well. Maybe I don't know, maybe a Jake Elliott every now and then. I might be leaving another few other kickers out. But I feel like Chase is top three, in my opinion, as fantasy wise. He's on a great offense because, first of all, you're on a great offense. Secondly, in that Tampa sun where you don't really, I mean, there's not a heavy windy conditions there in Tampa. It's always nice and sunny every time I flip on a Buccaneers game. And then he's on a great offense. He's a really good accurate kick at a vet kicker. And I just love the ranges that Buccaneers get near. They can get a 30, 40 yard. I mean, they just get you in great field goal positions with that offense. So I love it. For me, I'm going to go with Matt Gay. I would say this. Obviously, Mariota's looking to be the starter. I don't think Jaden Daniels plays as of Wednesday. I just don't think it's smart. You want to look the long term. I mean, I don't want to get off topic here, but look at across another league of sports with Tyrese Halliburton, where there's a bunch of injuries piling up, and you're just forcing it. So just rest him sometime. That's your franchise quarterback. So I feel like with Mariota, excuse me, I think he's gonna take over. I think he's capable enough to not be awful, but he'll get it across the 50. They're home, so I feel like Matt Gay has more of the home crowd. I'm liking the home crowd this weekend, Justin. A lot of the home teams, for me, week 10, it varies every week, but week 10 is looking more like of a home week, homecoming-ish week. Whoever's home can kind of score. So we both have home team kickers here, so I love it.
Yeah, with Gay, I mean, man, I hope Washington can move the ball at some solid pace because no Jaden Daniels does scare me. And the
Yeah,
only other thing that adds to it is that the lines are up by 30 points. The Commanders are just going to be going for it every time because why get a 3-point field goal to make it a 31-point game when you can get a touchdown? But I don't know. We'll see. He's a good kicker at the end of the day,
yeah.
and they are home. But yeah, okay, Dween Nation. Those are our starts and sits for Week 10. The big 1-0 of the season. We are past the halfway mark, and we are currently pushing forward. If you're still there's now in this discussion of Week 10, there are teams that are eliminated from playoff contention. If you are eliminated and you're watching, thank you. I know a lot of people check out, but also just make your lineups. Don't do the whole thing where I'm just just not touching it for the rest of the season. Because you still got other league mates that are trying to make their way. But yeah, if you are eliminated, I'm sorry to hear that. Just keep fighting the good fight and beating teams. I think that's fun. Playing spoiler a little bit for
Yeah.
people trying to make their playoff runs. But yeah, so keep watching. Thank you guys for listening. If you have any more thoughts or questions, drop them below. But Janoah, send us out.
Yo, Dween Nation, this was our starts and sits of week 10. So exciting weekend ahead of us, guys. So let us know, what are your starts and sits? And yeah, check us out on TikTok. Thank you guys for 1,000. Hopefully we can get 1,000 more by Super Bowl time. We love you guys. Thank you for watching. And as always, peace.